And what we will continue to do is send out renewal reminders. If your branch opted in for that, we'll continue to send renewal reminders out to those individuals about renewing at this moment, at least through the end of October. And part of the reason that we're doing that is because it is far easier to renew a member than it is to have to send them through the join process. And we recognize that, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time and effort for processing. So we hope that that's something that's going to be helpful. Yeah. And Carol, I didn't know if you needed me to speak to the list that I was given.
Well, I can certainly play that role, but the people who sent those questions are here.
Okay.
So I kind of thought that they would like to do that, but if you would prefer, I certainly can work through the list.
Yep. Well, I have a copy of it.
Right.
And I have a status. I have some updates.
Yeah. Is Denise Anastasio here? Because
Yes.
Denise, did you want to go ahead and ask one of your top questions? I know a number of your things have been resolved, but I know you had some others.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Angela. All of mine have been resolved at this point.
Okay, well, let me insert myself then, Denise, because one of the things you were asking about was that reimbursements come to the branches with no explanation from National on which individual, some of the things are explanations for what's going on. So treasurers are left with no documentation. Was that something that you still wanted to talk about? Denise?
My internet is not working very well.
Okay.
Yes, but that is still an issue, is that money will appear in our checking account. And I know it's from AAUW, but sometimes it's days before I get anything that explains to me what it is. I think it's usually the branch share of the dues for people who renew online. But there's, a long delay sometimes with that. That's the only thing. The other, all of my individual issues related to individual, like a couple people, when they tried to pay online, they accidentally ended up joining as new members. So we had duplicates. But you've corrected all of those now. So right now I don't have any outstanding issues.
All right. Okay. Angela, did you want to say anything or mention anything, respond to the issue about, reimbursements coming without any accompanying information or detail?
Sure. So as Denise mentions, there is first the disbursement itself that takes place. Generally, it's like the third week of the month. That's when our finance department pushes out the funds. And then following that, at the end of the month, you'll see an email that comes from me that is actually the disbursement report. And that's where you see the names and all the contact details that go along with the disbursement funds that you received. So they don't go out at the same time. One follows the other. We have it on our IT to-do list. Hopefully in the next couple of months, I'm gonna gauge it at this point 2 to 3 months. But they're working towards automation with that. And if you are a branch that has received reports, for example, about donations, if you're receiving a monthly donation report, it will be similar to that, but it will be that your funds get dispersed, that they still won't be able to go out at the same time, and I'll explain why. But the funds will get dispersed, and then the report will follow. But it will be automated, so you're not waiting for humans to push something out to you after the fact. It will always be that it will be a month after. So if you have members who paid directly online, if they paid directly online in this month, in September, you're going to get your disbursement for that at the end of October.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Suzanne, how about, would you like to ask your question? I know you said you have a new honorary member, maybe not new, but she continues to get reminders to renew.
Yes. I think a number of people have questions about the 50-year honorary lifetime. And as Carol said, this member just recently told me that she's continuing to get renewal notices. Well, she's listed as current in the roster. So, and I have not, because I just heard about this, I've not pursued it with National. So I don't know if you have a response to that.
Okay. Can you share with me the name of the person?
The person's name is Kay Montgomery. And I can follow up with a member number if you want to check on that. Actually, Karen Montgomery is the name that's listed, and her. Do you want her ID number?
I'm actually looking at her record.
Yes.
I'm going to pause for a moment. The echo means that maybe someone's devices are really close together, or perhaps they have things on speaker. So we're getting a bit of feedback.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe everyone should mute at this point, except unless when you are talking.
Okay. Are you able to hear me without the echo?
Can you mute Sharon Markwell, Mary?
Okay, I've gone in and muted everyone there's just one other group now, and I'll mute them, but I think everyone is muted except you, Angela, and myself at this moment.
Okay. Can I go ahead and suggest that I kind of go through the list of what's been done, because I think that will answer some people right away, and then we can open it up and keep the questions going. Would that be okay?
That's fine. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Sure. Bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I have permission, and we'll be able to go from there. Okay, Carol, can you give me access to share my screen?
Okay, you should be good, Angela.
Thank you. Just want to see where I am here. Okay, can everyone see my screen now?
Yes, I can, and I'm assuming everyone else too.
Okay, you think I need to enlarge it a little bit?
It looks very clear to me. Anyone else having problems, just let us know.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly go from top to bottom. So the items that Denise had, I've responded to. I think the last thing she had on her list, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood what was being said there, and it was about lifetime members paying state and branch dues, and should this be recorded through the hub when the dues are going directly to state and branch. If I understood it correctly, you can always use the hub, and you should actually. Lifetime is your paid life member, and you should go ahead and process them through the system the same way you do the annual paying members. If a volunteer leader does it, you're processing that person through renewals and donations, that application, which only takes the state dues. So it doesn't take the branch dues at all. Only if the life member self-renews will the system take out the branch and the state dues, and then those dues get dispersed. Then I want to start down the list. Next up is Suzanne. And I wanted to let her know that Glenda Karen Steinling has been upgraded. Also for Suzanne, about the Shape the Future membership for Lorraine Davis. That's also been updated. Next up is Kathy. In the case where there were the cases of duplicate charges for renewals, we can definitely put in the request for the refund. I was able to see those, and we can have those refunded. So we'll take care of that. The question about refunding for two people who I guess paid initially. I wanted to understand if Kathy is available. I wanted to understand what may have happened because Shape the Future as a campaign, we generally try not to do refunds as part of that process. So I didn't know if that was just that some sort of a mistake was made. I want to make sure that you understand in general, though, how the program works.
You know what, Kathy is not here, Angela. So, and I think I understand a little bit. I think Kathy accidentally paid the full membership when in fact they were Shape the Future people.
Okay.
So she paid the full, and it was her mistake.
Okay. So they were supposed to be 50, were they supposed to be 50% off? Is that?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that changes the request a little bit because I was under the impression that this was for the free, but I see what you're saying.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I guess that extra $72 total. It's $72 total, but it was only 36, whatever,
Got
for
it.
each individual.
Got it. Okay, great. This one is for Carol Salinas about Carol Foshage. So Carol's account reflected she joined in 1993. And so for cases like this, we would need the application sent to us. We need the application completed so research can be done on microfilm. Which goes back a bit further, and also on microfilm, because it is very, very old information. Members joined oftentimes under using the husband's name, so they were Mrs. John. So we that way we get the spouse's name so that we can do the research. Also for Carol, there was the question, the general question about honorary life membership. We do have a bit of a backlog with honoraries, with upgrading honoraries. Our goal is to get to about 30 days, but anytime someone's information doesn't match in terms of when they say they joined AAUW versus what the system reflects, then we should probably go ahead and complete that honorary life application for those individuals. And certainly, please always feel free. If you don't receive an update for those honorary life memberships within that 30-day window, just forward it so we have to bring it to the top of our inboxes so that we can follow up. The next one came from Cleo. And I tried to send an email, and the email address that we have here, which is also in the system, bounced.
If I can make a comment, I've had some
Sure.
issues the last 2 days with my email, so try to send it again and it will be fine. And
Will
I
do.
do have one other suggestion. I
Mhm.
was told that for people when they do reach the 50 years, the fact that they receive an email from National. That was what I was told, so I assume that is correct, correct?
That is, but that too is still part of the backlog at the moment. So
Okay. Okay, can I make one other suggestion?
Sure,
Because one of
please.
my co-membership gal a few years ago recommended it, that you send the honorary to the member who is the 50-year honorary, but you don't send it to the branch. That's what I was told. And the problem with that is a couple years ago, we had a lady that she was dealing with who wasn't too computer savvy, was having memory issues. And if you send hey, you're a 50-year member, they may delete it or ignore it. But if it gets to the branch will make sure to go ahead. So sending it to both the branch and the 50-year member would be my suggestion.
Yep. That's actually how it's done.
Oh, I
So-
was not told it was. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It goes to all parties.
Excellent.
On occasion, someone will ask us not to send it to the individual. Sometimes that is because they want to surprise them or do some sort of a presentation, but we send it to all parties, the individual plus president, membership VP, and finance officer.
Excellent.
Yep. But again, our apologies for the backlog. So we still have a bit and a ways to go. But we do have some temporary support at this moment, and we're going to be asking for that person's help to move this forward. So for Cleo, the two people that you inquired about, I did see where we received a response from Roberta. That was part of what I tried to email out today. That came back, and she is now recalling that she joined in 1974. So she and I think she was communicating with. I'm not going to recall Lynn's last name, but Lynn was on. There was a person by the name of Lynn on the.
Lynn Christensen is our other membership person, so that may be who you're thinking of.
Okay. But she said that she would wait and apply next year.
Yes, that's what Robbie told me. And Barb thought she was still 2 years off as she and her husband sat down. Because the problem is, I can check when they joined our branch.
Right.
I can find that, but as you said, if they transferred from some other branch and maybe had a few years off, we don't know that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just try to email me again because I had some problems there for 2 days. I think everything is correct now.
Okay, I certainly will. Okay, and I think I've spoken to this part. This came from Judy, but it was in line. It was the same kind of question with regards to honorary. Yep. So keep going with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also from Judy was about Diane. And Diane became an honorary lifetime member on the 17th of April.
Right.
Okay. For Carrie Ham about the CU rep status. So the school that I see her email address connected with is Lakeland University.
That's correct.
They have not renewed since 2022.
Okay.
But it's important to know that we keep them on our list. Schools that have been partner members with AAUW since 2021, we continue to outreach to. because so many had challenges during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're finding is that they are starting to come back.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, regarding the honorary lifetime designation, could we go back to the one question above that? And Mary Jo McBurdy, I sent you emails regarding her name change, so am I just going to wait because you guys are backed up with the research on those folks?
Because she had this person you're referring to had a different name?
Yeah, she joined under her married name, got divorced, and then during the year of her divorce, she used her maiden name, and it actually entered her as a new member. I think I had talked with you this summer, and I had sent the emails that she had kept for your reference. So I'm just assuming that because you're backed up with that will take longer than.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is to go back and pull that information up. Share her name with me so that I can associate it with something.
It's Mary Jo, two names, and McBurdy, MC capital BREARTY.
Okay, is that accurate? What I have there on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will go back and locate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Number 15, I didn't quite understand the question, so this is also for you, Judy.
Yeah, I'm not. This came from our financial VP. I guess I'm not really sure what she's asking for either. I can talk with her about it, and then if I need to, I can drop into office hours or send an email. So I'm not exactly sure either. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll just say
so I'll double check on that question and get a clearer understanding of what she wants. I think what she's saying is that we do have people, some of these students that graduate, but yet are still renewed as students. So they should actually be, members of the branch. So I think it has something to do with that, but I'll figure it out.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. In this next one, I just wanted to verify, are we referring to fiscal year 22-23 about these?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
That's what Laura said.
Okay. So for this one, I'm going to need to do a little more research.
Okay.
Because I want to, because it's so very specific, I won't take the time during this meeting to address it, but this helps me to be clear. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is Barbara with us on the call?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Hi. Yep. So these are some of the items on your list. So, okay, you make mention of Rudolph Fisher, Teresa Moore, new members, but did not apply using Shape the Future. Can this be reimbursed? Are we talking about last year? Or I want to be clear about the ask here.
Okay, these are from this year. And what happened was I did give the treasurer the codes to use, but they were either not used correctly or I didn't use them. I don't know. But both people were told that they would have that state or that national discount.
Got it. Okay.
And I think everything else we have on there was already fixed. And thank you so very much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so that kind of clarifies that one for me. With Teresa Moore, I did find that there is another account. And it was great that you provided where it was so that we can now associate Teresa Moore in Wisconsin with Teresa Moore in Iowa, and we'll consolidate those records.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. We
Great
did
job.
take care. Yep. Thank you. We did take care of the join dates. Sorry, not the join dates, but the expiration dates for Pam Thiel and
Yes.
Barbara Roberts. So that's been done. Let's see. Refund. So the refund. So number 20, the refund from like a year, or is that a year or so ago? Is that accurate?
I have to read this again. I think everything else was taken care of. This was, let's see. Okay, that must have submitted that twice, I think. Yeah, that was referring to Jan Fisher and Teresa Moore.
Okay.
Or
Well, there were
Teresa Moore,
different
Monica Fisher.
names. Okay, there were different names listed. Sorry, do you see that?
Yeah, let's skip that. Let me get back to you on that because I'm pretty sure that's taken care of. I'll figure that out by the end. I'm going to do a quick screenshot on that. I thought that was all taken care of. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now, Carol.
Yes.
About West Bend. So I did locate that and submitted it. As soon as it is approved, we'll go ahead and take care of the update.
Wonderful.
Yep. And the question about the roster, when you first go into the main part of the hub where all of the buttons and everything are, unfortunately, that is something that we had been exploring with the developers almost from the very beginning. It was on our list when we started. And unfortunately, that is not something that they were able to do successfully for any client. And so that's kind of where we are. And that was also the importance of the export roster being pre-sorted so that at least when people downloaded it, it would reflect the in last name sort order.
Right. Yeah. I know that this question had come up before, but I just was hoping maybe that you had looked into it further and things had changed. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I wanted to also respond about grace designations showing up on the roster when it's open and active being listed. So active simply means that we have not received a response that says that the person no longer wants to be contacted by AAUW, or to remove someone from our records. That also means for the branch, if you have a person who has been out of AAUW, let's say for 2 years, 3 years, we can still share their contact information. You can still reach out to those individuals.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
Yeah, and that is the list. And so we can jump back now, and I will stop sharing and try to answer any other questions that we have.
All right. So this is where if you have a question, then I had mentioned use the reactions option down at the bottom on my screen. And in there is a raise hand. And if you click on the raise hand, that will put you into the queue and we'll call on you in order. And Fani has got her hand up. So good. All right. We see some hands. And of course you would unmute as you're called on. So Fani, why don't you go ahead?
Is there any way that the community hub in the officer listings will allow more titles for the board members in the future?
The ones that we were looking to add back because we've gotten enough feedback on would be secretary. I think the plan is for secretary, bylaws, and also communications. Outside of those, there are a lot of positions across AAUW affiliates that are all very different. Was there some in particular that you were thinking of?
Often counterpart meetings are hard to arrange if you don't know who counterpart is, and newsletter editors is one of them.
Okay, I thought that the newsletter editor was still a part of that. Okay, I thought newsletter editor was still a position.
No. It was in the old one, but
Yeah, but excluded from, okay. And yeah, I will say the approach that was taken was really about those positions that AAUW National would likely be doing outreach with. And so that's where we've gotten some of the feedback. I will look at adding that position, having that position added back. Just don't recall it coming up before.
it's
So
good that you're working on that. What I'm saying is that state board has to operate with the roster. That's all we know of branches. Otherwise, we have to contact them one by one and ask who is doing that.
Got it.
All right. Moving on, Jackie, you're up next. You need to unmute.
There we go. It just came to our attention recently that one of our members that was with us for many years moved to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
She still appears on our roster, and she wishes to be on the Arizona roster.
Okay.
Not on our roster anymore.
Okay. So when you have someone who is no longer affiliated with your branch, you can actually remove them.
Okay.
She can be off your roster until the branch that she's joining up with picks her up.
Okay.
Yep. And I can tell you, do you want me to tell you how?
Sure.
So when you go in under my affiliations,
Yep.
and then you choose your branch and you click on manage roster.
Okay.
And then that list at the bottom where you see everyone's name with a blue button to the right of each person's name.
Okay.
That's what that roster is all about. That's about editing account records. That's how you change a person's name or email address. You want to just click on that blue button next to that person's name, and you'll see remove as an option.
All right. Thank you. We will do that.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. Joyce?
Hi, Angela. I'm the old new state treasurer.
I recognize your name. It said Lawrence, so I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, it's all registered under him. Anyway, so I get the new reports and I'm more confused by those. They list everybody that joined first and then by the branch, I think, right? So it's hard to see if they're all assigned a branch. And then I also haven't played around with it enough. Can I tell if they're a new member or a renewal or a transfer? We used to track all of that, but and it used to be easy.
Sure. Are you talking about the report that shows up when you go in as a state leader and you download it? Okay.
Yeah, that I get with the renewals, when they get the bank deposit.
Oh, okay, that's different. So that's the disbursement report.
Right.
If you're looking at the disbursement report, it does say whether they are new or renewing.
Okay.
So that reference is on that report. But again, that report comes out a month later.
Right.
You could download, there is a report when you go in as a state leader, there is a state report that you could download that will give you join date and expiration date, similar to a branch roster. It's just all inclusive of all of the branches.
Okay.
If you're trying to look at it that way.
I'll play around with it some more and see if I can figure it out. I was
Okay.
glad to be done so I didn't have to deal with the new reports, and now I do again.
Well,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your leadership. Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, Tully, you're up next. You need to unmute.
Thank you. I'm the membership chair in our branch, and even though I paid my dues in May and I got a thing back from AAUW that they received them from the treasurer in June, the website still lists me as not currently a member. So I can't do anything on the website.
Okay. Tell me your full name.
Catherine Tully, CATHERINE, TULLY. I checked it again this morning. It has my information on there, but it says I'm currently not a member. And so then when you go to affiliates and stuff, I can't pull up a roster. I can't do anything. So I've been relying on the treasurer, and she's been having trouble getting accurate information. We keep having members where it says they're not members and like they are. Okay. And we've received notices I received a notice just last week from AAUW saying that so-and-so joined as a new member. She's been a member before. I mean, it's nice to have her and add her to our list, but she's not a new member. She's been a member for a number of years.
Sure. So some of that is coming from if an individual joins under a different account, or if the leader creates a new account for a person. Excuse me. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
When I look at your account information specifically, I see your status as a current member. Now, there are a couple of other account records out there, but I see.
When I go into the website, it says not currently a member.
Tell me what email address are you using when you go into the
Tully477 at Gmail.
Okay. So there are a few other accounts that exist under your name, under Catherine Tully, under C. Tully. So that might likely be what the issue is. So we're going to get those accounts merged so that you have one account, and that should be all that the system finds. So I think you end up logging in under one of the accounts that doesn't reflect membership. So we just need to get those merged for you, and that will resolve your issue.
And then will we be able to straighten out the other people then once it logs me in as a member?
Well, it will. So what we want to do is identify those. So I'm going to quickly do this so that you'll see, maybe while we're on the call and talking to others, you can try to log in again. What I'm doing is sending you, now that I've merged your accounts and you have only one record on file with us, I'm pushing what's called the reset email out to you. And that's going to let you create a password, and then you can go ahead and log back in, and then you should be in the right account. So if you can look for that email from info, S as in Samantha, F as in Francine, at AAUW.org. It's coming to your Gmail account. and try that, and let's see if that resolves your issue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Suzanne.
This is not a specific technical question, but it's a quick observation and then a question about the extension of the grace period. We've been pushing hard in the branch in terms of emails and notices to encourage people to renew by the September 30th deadline. And I was about to start making more personal contacts to encourage people to do that. Now we've learned that the deadline has been extended to the end of October. I'm not sure that always helps a perception of credibility for national, as well as those of us in the local branches who are trying to affect renewals. And I guess my question is, projecting ahead a year from now, what do you foresee as renewal deadlines? Are we going to stay with or revert to that October 30, November 1 deadline? Or are we going to try again for a renewal deadline of September 30th?
Sure. I think I want to start just so for the benefit of everyone to just kind of explain what we used to do prior to this system. It was always November 30th was the cutoff. And as you can imagine, for most people, because your membership expired in June, that was extending it by 5 months, giving people that window of time to renew. And the goal was to shorten it, and the goal still is to shorten it. But what we also have to be realistic about is the fact that last year was, we were met in that first year with a lot of challenges. And many things, were on staff to try to resolve. And so we had to extend it because there was a lot to do and not many people to do it. This year, far better than the first year. And we're very grateful for that. But there are still cases where we are realizing that we have to get better, which is where the extensions are coming from. We've give you an example. There are probably 200 people who are eligible for honorary life status. So that has to be a priority for us to get through. And it's things like that when we look at all of the to-dos across the list, we look at all of the duplicate accounts where we are sending an email to a person saying that they still need to renew, and it turns out that they created a new account and renewed under the new account. That means more merging of account records that have to be done. And so that's where those decisions to extend it are coming in. There are far more people who would be very unhappy if we didn't. So I get it, and we're working towards that. My hope would be a year out from now that it would be far, far better. And I think that it will. But this was the first time in AAUW's history where all of these databases were brought in under one. And that's where a lot of the work has come from. So I would say that would be my hope, would be that September 30th would be a realistic in a standing deadline that we would keep. But we try to look at it from the standpoint that you're giving individuals another opportunity to get in there and get renewed, because it is not as simple of a process to add people back once they've fallen off your roster. So we try to be respectful of all of the things involved. I know that was an extensive answer, but it's the truth, and I like to make sure I explain, what the situation is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is not simple, and it has not been a simple 2 years for National.
Yep. Thank you.
Carol, you're muted.
Now I'm not.
No, Carol is muted though. Carol was going to call
Jane, you need to unmute.
We have one member that is listed. It's a duplicate. She is listed under Susan Deteen and Sue Deteen. Do you at National have to merge those?
Yes, we do. Yep.
Okay.
Would you spell the person's last name for me, just so I make note of this?
Okay. D-E-T-I-E-N-N-E is the last name. And she's in there under Sue, and she's in there under Suzanne. S-U-S-A-N. Same person, same, details, that type of thing.
Okay.
The other thing, I renewed this year ahead of time, like I think it was May.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got the notice from National, and it has my renewal good until 1925.
2025?
Yeah, 2025.
Okay.
Instead of 2024.
Okay. So we should take a look and see why that is.
And then okay, go ahead. Are you looking?
Yeah, just to quickly see if something quickly comes up that I can explain. Okay. So it appears that your dues were paid twice last year. So it shows April of 2022, and then it shows June of 2022. And so when you paid it this year, of course, it extended it out another year.
I don't recall at all paying them twice. So I don't know how you want to handle that.
Sure. So what I will do is I'm making a note so that I can dig into the details, and then I can share that with you.
Okay. Then I may have screwed up when I was peeking, because this website is brand new and I was kind of looking around. I think I removed myself from the Appleton branch by accident.
So that is a branch. Oh, Appleton. Ah.
And I am Assistant VP of Membership.
Absolutely.
Hey, Chris, how long can I use this newbie status?
All right. I have restored your access, so you're good.
Such as playing around, trying to figure out how to remove Sue Deteen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Denise, and you are muted.
We have two members that have the wrong the last name is not correct. And I don't know, I had it in my head that only you could change a name, but are we allowed to change name?
You absolutely can. The same as I explained earlier. So you go in under my affiliations, to the right of the branch name, you click that blue button and go into
Okay.
my moment. I'm having you go right. You go into the roster. Yes.
Yeah. I know I've changed addresses and emails, but for some reason I had it in my head we couldn't change the name because we had a member join who uses her, her first name, maiden name, last name. And so it was Cobb Madsen, and I just put in Cobb, and I must have stopped there, and I never put in the last name. So,
yep. So you can.
I can do that.
You absolutely can. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Carol Salinas.
Okay, I have sort of a general question. In our branch, we know we have 3 members that are still listed in the grace period, but we know they're not rejoining. They've told us that they're not rejoining. Should I manually go in and remove them, or should I just leave them until the grace period expires and they automatically go out?
Yep. If you know that a person is not renewing, especially because we have extended the grace period, go ahead and remove them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Barb Fisher.
Hi, thank you. That question that came up before, that was taken care of.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to get a new free membership by some of those, and we're putting that through. So thank you. But I do have another rather silly question, probably, because I've gotten both answers regarding honorary life members paying state dues. And some are telling me yes, and some are telling me no. But it sounds to me from this meeting that they do pay state dues. Is that correct, Carol?
They do not pay state dues.
They do not.
No.
Good. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And it's up to your branch what you do with your branch. Some do and some don't. But the state is free.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, Cleo. Oh, Cleo, you're muted.
My question is fairly simple. You said you had sent me an email that had bounced, and I put a chat comment just to you to use a different email just for this, because I had a technician come in Friday who fixed one problem and of course created several others. So I'm in the process of getting this fixed up, and I don't want you to change my national email. You understand? But I would like the email sent to me by the alternative. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. I don't see anyone else in the queue. And we still have lots of time, at least on the schedule. So this is your chance. Any other kinds of issues or concerns that have come up? Shirley, I was wondering if you were going to join us.
Yes, I've been here. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
We give out students scholarships every year. And part of that packet, we give them a free membership. How do you add a student? I got it open. I don't see anything on this hub that says student affiliate.
So for a student affiliate, so it's in the join instructions that we have in the community hub. When you sign someone up as a student, the difference is when you put in education, a student should have a degree and a degree date that's in the future. And when you put in an expected graduation date that's in the future, the system goes, oh, so this is a student, and it changes how it's going to handle the process.
Thank you. I was looking for the word student.
Yeah,
so
I'm with you.
Specify a future date they will have the degree, and then the system will automatically change it to student.
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Loop back to the person with the last name of Tully that Angela had sent you an email and to see if you could log in. Was that successful?
I was able to log in, yeah.
Awesome. Good to hear.
You know what, and I'm going to insert myself here with Shirley and her question with regarding the Milwaukee branch. There is at least one of the members that I know is a joint member with the West Suburban branch, and she continues to show as being in the grace period. And I've talked to Shirley, and I don't understand why. Shirley's telling me that this member has paid her dues, but continues to show grace. So I don't know if we can clear that up here, Shirley.
Who?
Lynn Hildenbrand.
Yes, I processed her. I've been using a debit card since 2017. Your new system
when we look at the
debit card
roster, she is still in grace.
Okay. I'm going to have you repeat the person's name for me once more.
Lynn, Lyn, Hildenbrand, Hildenbrand.
Yep.
She's also our president.
Yeah.
Okay. Very familiar name. So she's listed in grace. I see it that way. Okay.
And I know she paid because I have a copy of her check.
Okay. So her membership. So if you have a copy of her check, that means someone went in on her behalf to process the membership, correct?
Me.
Okay.
I do them all.
Okay. So then we need to look back at when you made the submission online.
Okay.
Yep. I'm looking at the account that we have on file for her, and it's not showing renewed. So can we do that? Take a look at that, and then just let me know. And that's something you can certainly email me. However works best for you. That's fine.
No problem.
Okay.
And one more question.
Sure.
Some of the West Suburban affiliate members are joint members with Milwaukee. Do I add them? How do they get on the roster as a dual member?
Sure. So now, West Bend is the branch that's disbanding, correct?
No, the West Suburban. And you know what?
West Suburban.
Really, when I look at the Milwaukee roster, because I just happen to have it up here, I know that a couple of the people that are affiliates and their names show up as being on your roster. So there may be a few missing, but some of them are there. So they must have done it when they applied.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm confused. I don't get Milwaukee roster. I get the state of Wisconsin.
When you go into my affiliations?
Yes, I'm in there now.
And you don't have the option for Milwaukee?
I see Milwaukee on the screen, WI-4022. That's the number for Milwaukee, but all the state people. I have people on my list from Janesville.
Well, you have the state board members on your list, but the rest should be your branch.
Right.
They give you all the state board members, but the rest should be all from your branch.
The little problem with that is that I don't recognize their names. So now some of the older women's that are members, been members 20, 30 years, I've never seen them. So I'm supposed to recognize who belongs to the state as an officer and who belongs to Milwaukee.
You know what, Shirley, I think we could probably work on the roster together a little bit, because there is a way to sift and filter that kind of thing out on the roster in Excel. So maybe we should do a Zoom call just a couple of us, maybe with Joyce as well.
Okay, I wasn't talking, I do that on Excel.
Okay.
Okay.
I separate it out and I send the list to Catherine Tully.
Okay.
When I download it from national, I get the state of Wisconsin instead of Milwaukee.
Okay. Let's do this. So you want, let me clarify what it is that we want to do. And then what I can do is pull a complete list for you. So go ahead and Shirley, tell me exactly what it is that you want to see.
Milwaukee affiliate only.
So only members of that branch?
Correct.
Okay. And you are a state leader? Correct?
Not anymore, not for years.
Okay. All right. Well, I can say this with to anyone who is a state leader, president, administrator, membership, or finance. You can go into the specific branch in question and download their roster. So
Right.
that's the other way to achieve it. But let me go ahead and do it for you.
Oh, now it makes sense.
Yep.
I used to be on the state board, 3-4 years ago. And that's what your software is doing, is connecting the two.
Correct. So let me go ahead and I'll download and send that to you so that you have it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Very good.
I also see that Cindy from Beaver Dam has her hand raised.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Thank you, Mary.
I just raised it. So,
okay, Cindy.
I remember this from the summer with the meeting with Carol, and I can't find my notes on it. So the question is, we have a small group in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and we had 3 new members recently join. And I thought there was a special that if you had 2 people join, you could then have another membership laid for somebody else by a certain date.
Right. So that is the Shape the Future campaign?
Well, all 3 of them use that. So I'm wondering is if we did use the Shape the Future, then we're probably not eligible for the other one. Carol, do you remember talking about that?
Yes, I do.
Did it expire?
Well, these are members that just joined for this fiscal year.
Yes, brand new.
Okay. Then if I'm not mistaken, Angela, I believe then the free national membership for the 2 would be available to you in the spring of 2024. So you have to wait and then you can use it.
Okay.
And
you could, it can actually be used if you've already earned them. If you've already submitted new members and you want to use it now, you can.
Oh, okay.
We will make that allowance. You do need to tell us who those new members are because it's only periodically that we're going in and scanning for all of the new members.
Okay. And how do I tell you?
You can send an email to connect at AAUW.org.
Okay. So it would be then that because I had 3, but say I had 2 new members, then maybe could that 3rd person be the free member for this year?
You could do that.
Yeah. But do you think we should even qualify since they use the Shape the Future coupon? I mean,
well, that's up to you. So the campaign in itself is designed so that it really is the idea behind it was to give branches a recruitment and retention tool all in one. So it really is up to the branch to make that call. Yeah.
Okay, so the free membership for a year could be to retain somebody that maybe couldn't afford. Okay.
Yep, as long as a person qualifies for membership, you can give it to whoever you like. You know, whether you're inquiring about some sort of a senior. You know, maybe you have a senior who Otherwise, wouldn't be continuing if you didn't offer the free membership. However you want to use it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
In Racine, we give the free membership. We have a drawing for all of those that have paid by May 5th.
Oh.
Or whenever our May meeting is, and they draw at that meeting for the free memberships for people who have already paid by then.
So then is it for the next year?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice idea. Okay, because we had people, a lot of people that joined early. Yeah, on time. All right, thank you. Good, that's a good thing.
Yeah, good,
all right.
Great question. I learned some information on that one too.
Yeah, I just kept looking because I felt dumb contacting you about it because I remember you talking about it. Thank you.
No. Anything else? All right. Hopefully this has been some valuable time. I know I've certainly picked up a lot of good information, and we will be sharing that with the people that were not able to attend. So thank you, everyone. And of course, thank you very much, Angela, for taking some time with us. I think we're moving forward and things are falling into line, and we should be in good shape before you know it.
So. I think Angela deserves 3 stars in her crown for dealing with the database for these 2 years and trying to straighten all us old people out on how to do it.
Oh, thank you all, because we certainly can't do this work without you. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You are welcome.